Now, who would say that an important part of black history is queer theory?
BLM, which was founded by members of the queer community.
Charlamagne gave the governor Ron DeSantis Donkey of the Day because he's banning the African American Studies course. Now, I've been watching the media coverage of this for some time, and I'm seeing the left-wing media, ABC, NBC, be very dishonest about certain things. That's not to say that Ron DeSantis is being honest. I never trust any of those politicians. There could be some things that he's definitely doing wrong. But just as someone taking this for face value and not knowing every single detail about this course, I will say I don't see what Ron DeSantis is saying that is wrong. To my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there's things inside this particular African American Studies course that's going against the political structure, if you could say it that way, that he set up in Florida. In particular, he pointed out that in the African American Studies course, it has queer theory. And he asked the question, what does queer theory have to do with African American studies? And so far, I haven't seen anybody give a good answer. What does queer theory have to do with African American studies? Queer theory is a part of LGBTQ studies. So this seems to be something where people are once again trying to sneak an agenda, which is exactly what he said. You see the agenda. He's stopping it in other areas, and they're trying to sneak it through African American studies. From what I heard, he said that they can resubmit the African American Studies course without that. Now, I also heard that he spoke against prisons and reparations. So I could see how people would have a problem with that and say, listen, man, we do deserve reparations. And it could be that there is some kind of political thing. I don't know, because I've never actually seen the details of what the course is. But here's what I'm saying. Why are people trying to sneak queer theory into African American studies? What does queer theory have to do with African American studies? I can't think of nothing. So Charlamagne tried to tie it in and made a statement. I'm gonna play it for you.
Is queer theory, and they said intersectionality. Think studying role, James Baldwin being, gay. How that played a role in his life. But I don't feel as if they focused on identity politics the way this generation does. They were all black first, and mind your own business about who they sleeping with second. But that's the type of stuff you can learn by teaching the class. Okay, and you can't really teach the last 20 years of black history, without BLM, which was founded by members of the queer community. So I think the difference between now and then is that Bayard Rustin, James Baldwin, they were members of the LGBTQ community, but it wasn't mentioned. But now it would be.
He's suggesting that BLM has been around for 20 years. That's a damn lie. BLM was nowhere around in 2003. First of all, you should be ashamed to be even mentioning BLM at all, because it's come out that BLM has been taking the money that they receive from donations and not giving it to the families of the victims that were killed. They ran away with the money. Patrisse Cullors got caught. And on top of that, when they did raise money, they didn't give it to black people. They gave it to LGB that and the rainbow this. They gave it to everything besides black organizations and the black people who needed it. They did not give a dime to the families of the people. I'm going to play the video of some of the victims' parents complaining about it.
I'm Tory Russell, Ferguson frontline organizer, and on the behalf of many activists in the St. Louis area, I'm joined with Mike Brown Sr., the father of Mike Brown Jr. Today, we hold Black Lives Matter accountable. The movement that is catapulted into the limelight has forgotten about Ferguson and the freedom fighters. Freedom fighters like King D. Seals, Edward Crawford, and Danye Jones have literally given their lives to the struggle, but have rarely spoken about and families are not taken care of. Brother Ali, Joshua Williams, and many other political prisoners from the Ferguson movement are incarcerated or have been, and still has received no assistance from Black Lives Matter. What kind of movement are we building where we're saying Black Lives Matter, but the freedom fighters and the families are being left behind?
So what is Charlamagne talking about? Again, Everybody is attacking the governor of Florida. And again, I don't give a damn about the governor of Florida. But if you're going to attack the man, at least come with an argument that proves him wrong. What does queer theory have to do with African American studies? Those people in the BLM movement are traitors to black people. They sold black people out. So if you move them out the way, what else you got? And the other people that he mentioned, they never claimed to be a part of that community. That community wasn't even around probably during that time. They had their own personal business that they kept private, and they kept it private. So what? People supposed to take a whole course to conduct some kind of forensic investigation into their personal lives from years ago and theorize about how that affected their walk in the African American community? That's the theory you're talking about? People are supposed to waste their time trying to figure out what they decide to keep private? That makes no sense. So please, don't be so quick to jump on anybody's side. Okay? Because the Democrats aren't your friend. The Republicans aren't your friend. Donald Trump is not your friend. Joe Biden is not your friend. Okay? Joe Biden, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You remember that guy? They're all the same. They're all crooked, and none of them have our best interests at heart. Don't let the media manipulate you. And that's something that I like to speak about a lot. People fall victim to media manipulation crazy. I'm going to show you a clip where a man actually spoke about what the governor DeSantis said. And he said, what do you have to say about this with the queer theory? The guy that was supposed to answer the question didn't even answer the question.
The governor says that because this course includes the study of queer theory, because it talks about political movements that advocated for abolishing prisons, because it focuses on the reparations movement, that all of that, in his view, is political and that it shouldn't be pushed on students. Can a course like this be taught without including those issues?
Listen, a course like this should be taught honestly. A course like this should be taught with the truth involved. History sometimes it involves the good, the bad, and the ugly of what has happened. But we deserve honest history. And if you're talking about advanced placement African-American history, then you're talking about some of those things like reparations. You're talking about some of those things like Jim Crow or slavery or the Reconstruction and the backlash to Reconstruction. You're talking about the Civil Rights Act. And those are uncomfortable situations, but they're not political in the sense that we're trying to indoctrinate students. We're trying to teach students the truth about American history. And American history involves and is centered all around African-American history.
And all he did was scream racism, 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 and could not answer it. And, it looks very dishonest. And all these people you see getting upset, lining up, screaming about how dare he mess with African American studies, all these people you're seeing on the screen, they're probably supporters of the whole queer theory movement. So, if that's what you really are, then why don't you just get up and say it? Why don't you get up and say, Ron DeSantis, we want to be able to teach this theory? Why get up and scream, it's about black people, when it clearly isn't? You're clearly avoiding the subject. He asked you the question. You didn't answer the question. Obviously, you're trying to get black people upset and don't want to speak the whole truth. Why don't you just speak the truth about the fact that you want the theory in the lesson and say why? Come with a reason. Don't try to get black people all upset and riled up because you're being dishonest. All right, well, that's my take on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. King Lemuel Podcast. Peace.